How to stay fit at sea, episode 1.
Last episode, we ranted about nachos, we explored more of Turks and Caicos, and then we set off for Puerto Rico, encountering some bumpy seas along the way.
And the hits just kept rolling in.
So, we're about 20 miles from Mayaguez in Puerto Rico, and I'm in disbelief that this has happened. This is an absolute disaster, and we're actually in a bit of trouble here. Somehow, our drive shaft has detached from the engine. It hasn't necessarily broken, I just think it's just let go, and now it's pulled itself all the way back and is stuck in the packing gland, and it's just wedged in there so tight that I can't free it up. And even if I could, at the moment I'm worried that if I did, water's just going to come pouring in the now what I assume is now smashed up packing gland. So we're trying to sail in to the harbour, but we've got 20 miles to go. There's rubbish weather kind of all around, and the wind is not cooperating. And we're going to have to freestyle anchor without a motor, which we've never done. Yeah, we're in a bit of trouble here.
After hours of zigzagging our way into Mayaguez Harbour with a failed engine and fading wind, we managed to get ourselves safely at anchor for the first time in 6 days.
What happened today, Khiara?
Today we arrived... last night we arrived in Puerto Rico, and we did it all completely under sail. As has been discussed, our prop shaft has broken away from the engine, so we couldn't start the engine at all. So yesterday at about 10:30 at night, we were navigating inside a tiny little channel and going and just zigzagging all of our way down to actually get to an anchorage, and then we finally put the anchor in under sail and then quickly dropped all the sails when we did that, so that we're drifting backwards. And then this morning, to your final question, Adam slept until like 11 o'clock. I was so bored, so anyway I called up the...
He deserved it.
No, he didn't. So I called up the number for the immigration, and they said to get there to get to the Immigration and Customs office by 12 o'clock, and it was 11 o'clock at this stage, and Adam was still asleep. The dinghy was still on the deck and everything like that, so I was like, ugh. Anyway, woke Adam up. We managed to just get there. In fact, the guy was actually getting out of his car, and we managed to intercept him and oh, can you please give us our visas? So anyway, after a few hours, many hours in the Customs and Immigration office, we finally are allowed to stay in Puerto Rico.
And to celebrate.
And to celebrate, we finally got some beers. Yes! Which is the first time we've managed to get some. I think we drank ours dry a long time ago. So finally well-deserved beer. We got some steaks for a barbecue. First time we've had meat in about...
3 weeks?
Yeah, in about 3 weeks since we left America. And then...
No, I had a burger in Turks and Caicos. 10 days.
I haven't had meat.
You haven't had meat, friend. You're a vegetarian.
I'm not a vegetarian. I'm just very selective. And we have got so much snack food. It's going to be amazing. We're just going to hole ourselves up in here, which is silly because we've been holed up in here for 6 days. But anyway, at anchor.
It's different.
Exactly, it's completely different. It really is. We just don't want to do anything, and then we just want to veg. Just veg, because we also haven't had sweets and lollies and things like that for so long. So long. Even when we were in America buying the boat, we were just trying not to eat that much. And so when we were on the way, I've been craving chocolate, and so I said to Adam, I was like, please just have a veg out day, or veg out night, where we just have beers, steak, chips, crisps, Maltesers,
cookies,
everything. Cookies, that's right, yes, we've got some cookies. And so we're just going to veg tonight, and we're going to deal with the bomb mess.
The disaster.
Later on tomorrow, I think.
The shaft that is
protruding from the back
of the boat.
Yeah. Hello. I'm cleaning the boat. Usually after every sail, it gets so much salt water on it that it just starts rusting within a few days. So I'm getting on top of it this time, and I'm cleaning the rust off as it happens. It literally takes in an hour I can start to see rust stains. ridiculous.
So much fun.
So much fun.
It's lovely how it sparkles and glistens in the sun for 13 seconds
It's
after you
freaking
polish
boiling
it.
here though. The water's like seriously flat, it's boiling. So it's a fairly good day to clean. But yeah. Fun times in new countries!
And I have the fantastic task of putting my togs on and going in the water to try and free up the prop shaft.
I'd still prefer
Please.
my job than yours.
Can we switch?
No. I said I'd prefer my
Oh
job.
wait, yeah, okay. Yeah. With any luck I can free it up easy enough from the outside, push it back in, reattach it, and we're away. The risks are that in freeing it up, an unacceptable amount of water starts to pour through the packing gland and I can't tighten it enough to cease the flow. If that happens, we'll have to make a, I don't know. We'll have to make a dash for the marina under sail and pump it out the whole way and then get towed in.
Alright, let's head back up.
We have the bilge and the manual bilge pump.
Yeah.
So that's the risk, but we've got to get an engine back. But we have to try and fix it. So, and I'm very over conservative. Usually I panic at the slightest drip of water coming in. So I'm sure we'll be fine. And I'm not going to force it. I'm not going to have a reenactment of this disaster where more muscles than brains prevailed and we broke something unnecessarily. So we'll take it easy. If I can't free it up with a sensible amount of force, I will cease and we will get a professional in to help us with a bit of a safety net of a marina to run to if the leaking gets out of control. Anyway, I gotta go swimming. That was a good one. So you don't feel like talking, I'm certain. But would you like to tell the folks at home about your sacrifice to the blood gods, the ancient gods?
It's only something I could have done. I managed to get my finger in between. So Adam was in the water, pushing the shaft from the other side, and I was trying to marry up the holes very I don't know. I don't care. I was trying to marry up some holes, and Adam was on the other side. I stupidly put my finger in between the two things, while Adam just went and did a last push on the prop shaft, and it went and pushed and trapped my finger in between. It's the finger that only had reconstruction surgery like a year ago, so it just feels a bit numb and a bit painful.
Pretty much had it.
Yeah, exactly. I don't even know how to do
One more injury and it's just amputated.
that. Yeah, pretty much. It's like horrible shot.
Guess I can't do the dishes for a month.
Really hurts. So we're going to try out our engine after Adam's put the shaft back onto the engine. Fingers crossed it works. A bit nervous, but I hope it works.
Right, shaft reattached, spinning, we are moving forward, we are off anchor. The Millennial Falcon flies again.
Limps.
Limps, we're limping, it's hobbling, maybe not flying. Yeah. It feels, I'm really, really happy with us. And myself. Like,
I just managed to inch myself the only time I helped.
We got it out of the water, back through the packing gland. We got it reattached. I tightened up the gland again. Nothing's broken, nothing's leaking. So far, so good. It's holding on.
Yeah.
Might have over tightened the stuffing box packing gland a little bit, but I can fix that once we get back.
We're moving at least.
We're moving. Yes.
Without sail, which is really bloody good. Oh, so good.
So I had this. We have this book. We inherited this book with the boat, and it's by Nigel Calder, who makes heaps of sailing books. You probably all have heard of him already. But this book particularly is fantastic for diagnosing, pretty much anything wrong with most of the systems on board, from water makers to rigging to transmissions. speaking of transmissions, when I was trying to diagnose what had happened with our transmission letting go, I found this picture, which is essentially the exact layout of our transmission. And what had happened was, when I came downstairs to inspect why we had no thrust, I saw pretty much this half of the image, just a spline transmission output shaft just sort of spinning in space, lost. And it was only when I looked back towards the packing gland that I saw this half just wedged in the back of the boat, and the rest of the shaft had retreated out the back and was stuck on the skeg, thank God. So once we managed to get to anchor, I went in the water and pushed it back into the boat. And then once I got the coupling apart, I discovered that this nut had let go off the spline transmission output shaft and had sent the whole part rearward. There's no split pin, there's no sort of locking mechanism, it's just counter threaded, and it had just let go. There's no apparent breakage. I'm at a bit of a loss as to how to stop it from happening again. Anyway, once I got the coupling apart, I could put that nut back on the transmission and then marry up the coupling again. And we've motored 8 miles from Mayaguez to Puerto Rico since then, and we haven't had any issue. It doesn't sit well with me not having anything holding that nut on there. I'm not sure what caused it. I suspect it's a bit of throttle bashing on our part. We struggled to reverse this beast. It has a tendency, it has a really bad prop wash and has a tendency to want to put its booty to wind. So there's a bit of throttle bashing that goes on, trying to keep it into wind and into current when we're dropping anchor. So maybe that momentum has just progressively undone the nut. We'll see. I don't know. I just have to hope it doesn't happen again. If anybody knows a way to stop to fix that, like, can I use Loctite on that thread without contaminating the lubrication system? I don't know. If anyone has any suggestions, I'd really love to hear them, because it doesn't sit well with me just sitting it as it was, waiting to happen again. Anyway, that's what happened. It's fixed for now. Until next time.
We've finally, hopefully, gotten rid of all the drama in the past. Not all the drama, obviously there is a lot of stuff to do. But we're finally ready to explore Mayaguez in Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico!
So we'll just have a little exploration, and then tomorrow we're planning to go to another area, Puerto Rico. So we will show you what it's all about.
God.
Such an idiot.
What just happened? How far have you walked doing what you were doing?
I walked about 50 meters just filming like this. And then Adam walked up to me going, Khiara, you realise you've got the GoPro facing yourself. And in fact I have.
Suffice to say, that one won't make the final cut. Khiara's belly button for 200 yards.
Thank you for watching. If you like that, and subscribe, Thank you for watching. If you liked that, then feel free to like or subscribe, and our socials are in the link below.